Thank you, Hazan. So there's this wonderful Yiddish folk song that I've had stuck in my head all day. I forgot I was going to ask you if you knew it. Sorry to put you on the spot. Tumbalalaika.
Ken.
Yeah. Tumbala, tumbala, tumbalalaika, tumbala, tumbala, tumbalalaika, tumbalalaika, spielbalalaika. I can't go that high. Tumbalalaika, fröhlich soll sein. Thank you. So I love this song. My grandfather used to sing it. And there's one verse that I had playing throughout my head today as I was thinking about our Torah portion. And the verse is, tell me, my pretty, the English translation of the Yiddish would be, tell me, my pretty, tell if you know, what needs no rain, and yet it can grow. Tell what can blossom and bloom through the years, and what, when it yearns, cries without tears. Now, in Yiddish folk songs, an exchange of riddles such as this is often connected to a song about courtship and love. It's cute and a bit puzzling to our modern ear. The idea is clear, though. The one who solves the riddle, who passes the test, they are the one who should be chosen for love and partnership. And it reminds me so much of the extensive rabbinic stories created to explain this week's Torah portion and how Rebekah becomes chosen to be Isaac's wife. The test itself asks God to send a woman who will lower her jar to allow Abraham's servant to drink and also offer water to his camels. This ends up being exactly what happens, and we're made to feel that it's this besheret moment. It's meant to be. That Rebekah was truly the one who was supposed to be Isaac's wife. The question for us is, was she chosen because she spoke the right words? Because she passed the right test? Because this is clearly what God intended? Or is it something else, something more, something behind the words she spoke that illustrates her character? Different commentators believe different things, and while some see this story as an example that the miraculous can occur and God's will can be known, I prefer to read with those who see this as a tale of character, explaining she was not simply chosen because she spoke the right words, but rather because she exuded the right qualities. We're told through rabbinic stories that as Abraham's servant waited by the well, he saw Rebekah approaching with a jug on her shoulder. Now, he noticed her because of her beauty, but he kept watching because her journey was interrupted as she stopped next to a crying child whose foot had been cut on a sharp stone. We're told she washed the cut and bandaged it with her own veil. She also comforted the child by saying the cut would heal. Again, this is not in the Torah, this is rabbinic imagination. Then, while back on her way, a woman who was nearly blind came to the well to draw water, and Rebekah helped her and continued to help by carrying the full pitcher home for her. When Rebekah finally returned to get water for herself, this is when Abraham's servant approached her and asked if she would share the water with him. She agreed and then also drew water for his camels. And this rabbinic story tells us that the other girls mocked her because she helped serve a stranger. But she ignored their taunts. And it was the culmination of all this that made it clear that she would be not only a wonderful wife for Isaac, but a great matriarch for our people. Now we have a picture of a woman who is beautiful inside and out. Now we have a story of God providing an encounter with Isaac's future wife, not simply because she responded correctly to a riddle, but because she interacted with the world through kindness. Rebekah, it's important to note, is not a wilting flower. She's an actor in her story. She makes things happen. She shows care and concern for others while being able to create her own narrative. In the text, she has agency not given to all women. When her opinion is asked before an agreement is made, if she will go to meet Isaac. She is stronger than most biblical women. And yet the rabbis extol her kindness. The value of offering kindness to a stranger exuded by Rebekah in this text is one we can all learn from. For her willingness to go out of her way to help others makes her a strong and beautiful person. I want you to think for a moment about a time when you were challenged with the possibility of being kind to a stranger. Did you act with loving kindness, with hesed, or did you continue to focus on what you were doing, on yourself alone? Have you ever been approached by someone looking for food or financial assistance, someone needing directions or support? They probably weren't asking for water from a well, but they might have asked you for something that you could give. What did you say, and how did you say it? What about other times when you've encountered strangers? Have you seen someone crying and gone to check on them? Have you spotted a hungry or thirsty animal and worked to feed them? How have you acted like Rebecca? How have you brought active kindness into this world? Honestly answer for yourselves. Have you ever gone out of your way to help another, to help a stranger? I'm not just talking about helping someone lift their carry-on bag into the overhead compartment on a flight, though as someone who's on the shorter side of life, I do think that is very nice. But it's not hesed. It's not the same as giving up your seat for someone. The Hesed Rebecca models for us in our Torah portion this week is one of putting yourself out for another. There's this wonderful description I love by Rabbi Abraham Yachis, who puts it this way. If you're walking down the street and someone is walking beside you carrying a large box, and you offer to help that person carry the box, that is not hesed. You'd simply be a terrible person not to help in that situation. What counts as hesed is when you are walking the opposite way from someone carrying a burden, and you turn around to help carry the load in the direction he or she is going. That is hesed. When you hear that, what are your first reactions to Rabbi Yachnis's words? When you think about yourself, your life, have you ever been the person who would go out of their way to help another, even if it brought you inconvenience? How do you stack up to Rebecca is the question of this week's sermon, and her actions and acts of kindness in the Torah portion. Seriously consider these questions. Don't just brush them off as an obvious lesson. Great, the rabbi says the Torah wants us to be kind. Shocker, I know. It's more than that, though. Our tradition teaches us this lesson in so many different ways, over and over again. Our sages taught that acts of kindness are even more important than giving charity, and acts of kindness are the central pillar of living a good Jewish life. We're taught to find virtue in everyone, greet everyone with joy. We're taught that when you ease your neighbor's heart, you make heaven smile. Think about that. All of this is Jewish tradition calling out for us to bring hesed into the world. And it's not just supposed to happen when it's easy. Rabbi Alan Marinas writes, our most valuable acts of loving kindness take place when we overcome an inner resistance and do the benevolent thing anyway. So true hesed comes right after you hesitate, after you question yourself and decide to do the right thing regardless of the inconvenience posed. Should I give that money? Should I roll down my window? Should I help? Should I ask? Should I see? When you pause and then say yes, that is hesed. This means doing more than giving when asked. We're not only instructed to give to the poor, but the Talmud teaches that those who truly offer acts of loving kindness run after the poor in order to give to them. We're to find those in need and chase them down and insist on helping. We therefore must seek opportunities to extend help and support to others, not simply respond favorably to requests, but see those in need and run to help them. This isn't difficult. There's no riddle or rhyme here for us to solve. This love story paints for us an important lesson to be followed. Rebecca becomes chosen to be a person of our people's matriarchs, not because she answers the riddle with the right words, but rather because she possesses the right qualities, mainly that of loving kindness. This Shabbat and in the coming week, how will you run to offer kindness? Can you do something every day? Make a phone call, a visit, send a card or an email of encouragement. Try between now and next Shabbat to model Rebecca and spread kindness to friends and strangers alike. For surely we know, though it may not be the original solution to the riddle in Tumbalalaika, Hesed truly is the answer. For kindness needs no rain, and yet it can grow. And loving kindness can blossom and bloom through the years, and it can help a heart that yearns without tears. Shabbat Shalom.